My name is Jake Berkowitz. I am the VP of Enterprise with Revel. I am not going to waste any of our quick hit case study time on talking to you about Revel, other than to say we are the leading cloud point of sale system on the market today, really focusing on multi-unit restaurants like PDQ. So, really excited to talk to you today, Eric.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So, it was a couple of years ago, and I think we were probably stuck in a space that a lot of restaurateurs are, that they are in these legacy deals with their point of sale. And it's very difficult from a change management standpoint to implement and disrupt your team members. So for us, we really wanted to focus on three things. One, stability. Two, the ability. And then three, optionality. So when we kind of embarked in this journey, we brought a lot of our team members into the mix. I heard it mentioned earlier. I think that's very, very important to get the field excited about the change. And they had a voice. They had a voice on how we set up the menu, as far as, directing it to this printer, this KDS, et cetera, et cetera. So we actually did it in about 45 days or so across the whole brand. And we do a couple restaurants a day. We'd pivot halfway through, make changes, et cetera. But I think one of the things when we did roll it out that was, the biggest difference in success is that we actually purchased an entire system, additional, and we travel from restaurant to restaurant so the team members, could get used to it before go live day.
Yeah, let me jump in for a sec, because there's a lot of good stuff here. Can you back up for a second and talk a little bit as you walked into the evaluation process? Doesn't need to necessarily be about why you selected Revel, but why did you decide to evaluate point of sale when you actually did, and what ultimately did lead to your selection?
Yeah, so there was this little thing that happened in 2020.
What was that?
Yeah, COVID. So we needed the ability to integrate. That was, I think, number one. I think today we have probably 9 integrations into the Revel platform. But we wanted to be able to, be very agile, move quickly. That was number one. Number two, we're a drive-through restaurant. Luckily, during that time, we went up to 100% going through drive-through, and then we've crept back down. I think about 53% today. But we actually take orders face-to-face all the time, regardless if it's busy, line, out to the street, et cetera. But we have the ability now to grab that order taker from we call it the hut. It's a little box in the back where we put somebody to take the order. But we can actually just grab that order taker and go right outside and start getting that information faster. We have multiple order takers, sometimes 2-3 people outside taking orders. And it was very important for speed of service. The faster I can get the information from the guest to our kitchen, because we are a make-to-order establishment, we can get them through the line and essentially out, quicker. So you're going to see some stats here in a minute. But what happened was when we first rolled out Revel, we were able to shave around 30 seconds per car in the service window. And an overall experience, we shaved a minute off the overall experience. So huge, huge, huge for throughput. And then about a year after the rollout, we actually went back for a second bite of the apple, and we engaged, team members, managers, et cetera, to go about the menu management so we could take the order more efficiently. And we ended up saving another 6 seconds off of each individual order being taken, because what we learned was that we were disrupting the guest as they were placing their order because of how we had the menu designs. So we went back, did that. It's been a little over a year now since we did that. And it makes the team members' lives easier on the guests. The guest doesn't feel like they're getting disrupted through the ordering process. So ultimately, again, 2 years in, we probably were very late to the party doing that and getting started in 2020. But, the other thing to think about here for us, too, is that from a CapEx standpoint, we've reduced our CapEx outlay for our point of sale around 70%.
70%?
70. So it's massive. And then on top of that, with the 70% reduction, we actually increased our order takers by 3. So now we have 3 more order takers, and we still save the 70% on CapEx. And again, you talk about redundancy. Your traditional hardware goes down, and you're dead in the water. I mean, with Revel, and of course, I'm a huge Apple guy, so I'm going to give a shout out to Apple. But with them, I can literally just go across the street and buy an iPad if I want to, and be back online within an hour. But we do have built-in redundancy, with the order takers as well.
Got it. That makes sense. You talked a little bit about speed of service, and I think we're all hyper-focused on speed of service, very aware of how much that influences revenues. Can you talk a little bit? I hear you talking about the line. Can you talk a little bit specifically about what you've seen in the drive-through and how that's been impacted?
Yeah. So I think that for probably the first 20 years of my career, I couldn't tell you how many times I've been told throughout, your bathrooms need to be very clean, your bathrooms. But with this shift, and I'll get to the point in a sec, but with this shift going away from dine-in business and getting in the drive-through, I think that the overall experience from a value standpoint starts when the guest enters your parking lot. So the things that, of course they're important, but now they've just been amplified, whether it be your landscape and the state of your building, the state of your parking lot, et cetera, trash and things like that. But I think that getting into the expectation, with some of the behemoth drive-through restaurant chains out there, and the investments that they've made, the expectation is that I can get through a line quick, right? And my order is going to be accurate 100% of the time. And really in the QSR space, in my opinion, that really we're after serving 2 things. One, you come in because you either have a poverty of income or a poverty of time, right? So we can only price ourselves so high, right, in that space. And then we have to be 100% accurate too, So I think that the demand has gone up for drive-throughs. I think that the value itself has shifted on what people's expectations are when they come through in a drive-through. And I think, after today, I've got to do some work on AI after this morning.
And robots.
And robots, yeah. But I do think that, there's this balance from the guest experience. And I think that if we go down the route of getting some AI in a drive-through from the ordering standpoint, that we still need to focus the hospitality piece on that pickup window, on that second window. So I think it's a good balance of the two. Not quite on my radar yet, possibly for 2024. But no, speed, I think at the end of the day, that's probably what everybody, number one thing going through a drive-through is you got to get me in and out. Because a lot of our business comes for lunch. And,
Yep.
You can't leave for your lunch hour and get fired because you're at PDQ's drive-through too long,
Right,
So.
right. Let me ask you, we have got a few minutes left, so shifting gears for a minute. So, as we look at the technology space, I think for us, in the point of sale space, it really does seem as though new providers have gone sort of one of 2 directions, right? There's the old school direction, where, we'll hear terms like unified commerce or jack of all trades, where point of sale providers also are trying to be loyalty providers and online ordering providers and business intelligence. And then you have, kind of a completely separate direction, which is what we are, which is just a platform enabler. We produce really strong APIs and compel our restaurant partners to really seek out best-in-breed enterprise applications to put together your own ecosystem. Obviously, you've chosen to go our path. Can you talk a little bit about what compelled you to move away from point of sale that was providing everything?
Yeah, so I think that was the third piece, the optionality. So, we'd love to, over the course of time, I guess we piled a lot on top of each other, for years. The first probably 6-7 years, it was, well, we need this now, and then we need this. And we ended up having to dismantle all of that over the last 3 years. But I think getting to your point is that you all give us the option to do what we want to do. So I mentioned it earlier, I think we have 9 integrations going through Revel today, probably 19 by next year, the way, the speed in which technology is advancing. But, for me, I'll use kiosks as an example, right? We're testing kiosks today in 2 locations. We're, again, very far behind the curve. I've been kind of stomping my feet on kiosks for the past several years, and I think some big companies helped us change the route of the guest to do that. But long story short is that we're not forced necessarily to stick with Revel from a kiosk perspective.
Right.
Yeah. So we can go out and test whatever we'd like to, and they can integrate right directly into your platform.
That's right. That's right. Well, we've got about a minute left. I realize we jumped right into the tech. Can you talk a little bit about just PDQ, what your brand is, where you see yourselves in a few years?
Yeah, we're based out of Tampa. We're going on 12 years the end of this month. We've steadily built units every year, even through COVID. We built 3 during the year of COVID in 2020. We opened one several weeks ago. We have another opening coming in about 5 weeks from now down in South Florida. But primarily we're in Florida. We have almost 50 restaurants in Florida. We have a few in the Carolinas, a couple in New York, New Jersey. But right now we have so much white space, that we're probably going to fill out Florida, focus our growth and development on Florida and New York right now. But the last 2 years, I think we've really focused on just getting the foundation right. We haven't really messed with the food part of it. We have that figured out, the service and all that. But as far as the technology, we changed our HRIS system. We stood up an app, loyalty, POS system, food provider. So we've done a lot in 3 years. So I think we're just getting ready for massive growth in the next couple of years.
Great. Well, we are right out of time. I really appreciate the partnership. I do hope that if anybody has any questions about point of sale, specifically PDQ's use of point of sale, come find Eric or myself. We'd be happy to talk to you.
Awesome.